We are taking you into the news right now with the Fox 45 news feed. It's 11 a.m. We are following breaking news about the water crisis in West Baltimore. The city is lifting the boil water advisory after new testing, but you can't drink it straight from the tap just yet. What those in the impact zone still need to do. And a new lawsuit is being filed against Baltimore City schools, the allegations of abuse inside school walls. And a country in mourning. We will take a look back at the life and the legacy of Queen Elizabeth II and what comes next for the new monarch, King Charles III. Fox 45 News Midday starts right now.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News Midday.
Thanks so much for joining us for Fox 45 News Midday. I'm Shannon Lilly. We begin with breaking news about the water crisis in Baltimore City. The mayor says the city is lifting the boil water advisory following new testing.
This morning we have great news to share with you all. With the results that we received overnight Thursday, DPW has received clearance from MDE to lift the precautionary water boil advisory for residents, business, and other facilities in the impacted areas of West Baltimore.
Well, the mayor says new overnight testing shows the water is safe for residents, and as a result, DPW is lifting that boil water advisory.
We have found no further evidence of contamination and can assure our residents that water is now safe to use throughout the small advisory area and the initial impact zone.
Now, while the advisory has been lifted and the mayor says the water is now safe to drink, he does say residents will need to flush their water lines before using tap water again.
I want to remind our residents that we need them to properly flush their system before resuming water usage, and I reiterate that we understand what our communities have been going through, and in light of that, want to remind everyone that we are instituting a 25% discount citywide on water bills for the next billing cycle as we help to compensate residents for being without water and to help cover the cost of increased usage during flushing.
Again, that breaking news right into our newsroom. The boil water advisory now lifted for all of Baltimore City following new testing. The mayor says the city will continue to investigate what caused the initial contamination. He says the health department will also monitor the situation to watch for any illnesses from the contamination. You can stay with Fox 45 News for continuing coverage of the water crisis in Baltimore City and the city's response. We'll have complete coverage on Fox 45 News at 4, and you can find past coverage on our website. That's foxbaltimore.com. Happening right now, Baltimore City Schools is facing even more legal trouble. As Olivia Dance shows us, right now a lawsuit against the district is being filed alleging violent attacks behind school walls.
Right now, attorney Stephen Thomas Jr. is announcing the lawsuit in his office behind me here. And during the announcement, he's expected to present surveillance footage from July 2019. On that day, he says Sarah Dixon, an IEP special client at the time, the special needs student was only 9 years old. And Thomas says other teachers sat and watched the assault. The lawsuit was filed against the Baltimore City Board of School Commissioners and Sarah Dixon. And we have a crew inside for the announcement right now. They'll bring you the latest on Fox 45 News at 4. For now, reporting in Baltimore, I'm Olivia Dance, Fox 45 Midday.
A live look now from 10 Downing Street in London, where a 10-day mourning period honoring the loss of Queen Elizabeth II is underway. Right now, King Charles III is back in London, where he will make his first public speech as king alongside Britain's new Prime Minister, Liz Truss. He left Balmoral Castle in Scotland overnight, where he was by his mother's side when she passed. And later today, a public service will be held at St. Paul's Cathedral, but it won't be attended by the royal family. It's a moment for the public to remember their queen. The Abbey is a historic church where Britain's kings and queens are crowned, including the Queen's coronation and where she married Prince Philip back in 1947. Well, the exact date of her state funeral at Westminster Abbey has yet to be confirmed by Buckingham Palace, but it is expected to be held within the next 10 to 11 days. Every detail of the events ahead have been carefully choreographed and approved by the monarch herself, beginning with gun salutes at Edinburgh Castle in Scotland and Hyde Park in London. For more stories about the Queen and the royal family, head to our website. That's foxbaltimore.com. And there you can also scroll through pictures of the Queen's visit right here to Maryland. Well, here's our look at today's top trending stories. Trending number 1. Police are investigating 3 overnight shootings that happened just after midnight. A 21-year-old was shot in southeast Baltimore, and then about an hour later, a 44-year-old was shot in North Baltimore. And earlier in the day, a 31-year-old was shot in southeast Baltimore. Police say he was shot in the chest along North Chapel Street just before 7 last night, but he is expected to recover. Trending number 2, a student has died during football practice at Randallstown High School in Baltimore County. The school's principal says the child was in just the 11th grade and suffered some sort of medical emergency on the field. For those struggling with the loss, support staff and additional counselors were made available at school today. Trending number 3, sports betting in Maryland. Today, there will be public comment on the Maryland Sports Wagering Commission's meeting. They began to accept applications from online sports betting retailers earlier this week. And trending number 4, happening today, the contract extension deadline for Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. Jackson is entering his 5th-year option season, and after that, the Ravens can use the franchise tag to keep him. This means that it's really no big deal if extension talks drag on to the next offseason unless something major happens like an injury. Well, Jackson, who is representing himself in these talks, doesn't seem worried about that risk. Still ahead, a Michigan man won't have to worry about losing his keys because he's had a microchip implanted into his hand. Just crazy. We're going to show you how the new tech works. But first, Serena Williams breaks records once again. The new record the tennis star just set after her career-ending matchup at Wimbledon. And remembering the Queen, we are going to take a look back at her different visits right here to Maryland throughout her reign.
We are looking at a beautiful afternoon ahead of us. Today's actually the nicest out of the next 3 with tons of sunshine and highs in the really comfortable low 80s. But it's not going to stay this way. Coming up next on Fox 45 News Midday at 11, I'll let you know exactly when the rain's going to return.
Fox 45 News, winner of 17 2022 Regional Emmy Awards, more than all other Baltimore news stations combined.
Taking a look at your social stream, so much talk and people are paying their respects after the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. These flowers are being laid out as tribute to the monarch. You can see mourners have come out in the cool and rainy weather to honor her with dozens of bouquets lined along these gates. Wow. And here at home, the White House has lowered flags to half-staff in honor of the Queen's passing. And it wasn't just at the White House. President Biden also issuing a proclamation directing all public buildings and grounds across the country to drop U.S. flags to half-staff until sunset in her honor. Queen Elizabeth made a few stops right here to Baltimore over the years. President George H.W. Bush and First Lady Barbara Bush invited her and Prince Philip to Memorial Stadium to watch the Baltimore Orioles take on the Oakland Athletics in 1991. We have a picture to show you from that day, too, right here, the Bush Library tweeting out. Look at that. You can see the president right here, the First Lady, and there is the Queen right there with Cal Ripken Jr. right there in the Orioles dugout. Now, according to Faye Vincent, who was the Major League Commissioner at the time, Bush told him the Queen wanted to come to a ball game, and he suggested Baltimore. So hence this picture. And then we have another memory here. Larry Hogan tweeting, "Wonderful, wonderful, the time Queen Elizabeth II watched Maryland upset UNC." He tweets out this article. So some wonderful memories right here in Baltimore. Also trending today, nearly 100 personal items of the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg are up for auction. According to auction house Bonhams, the items being offered include some rare signature pieces from Justice Ginsburg's fashion collection, such as 2 pairs of her lace gloves, one of her favorite shawls, and this beaded gilt collar necklace. Look at that. Proceeds from the auction will benefit SOS Children's Villages, an organization that cares for foster children or those who are at risk of losing their parents. Some mixed reaction, though, on the social stream. We have this user saying, just tell people to donate to that charity. I didn't agree with her a ton, but those things should be in the Smithsonian. Her effects going to the highest bidder just feels dirty, even if it is for charity. And here's another one. Ruth's impact, the message of her work, was not designed to stop after her death. I think it would be uplifting and powerful to ask women of all ages and belief systems what Ruth's life meant to them and what they would like to see carry on and get bigger for Ruth's work to live on. Serena Williams breaks records once again. The last tennis match of her career has become the most watched match in ESPN's 43-year history. According to Nielsen, 6.9 million people tuned in. It beat the previous record holder, the 2012 Wimbledon men's final between Roger Federer and Andy Murray. Just crazy. Charlie here saying, "Thank you, Serena, for inspiring women all over the world to do their very best, no matter what that is." And then she went down swinging and deserved all the love the fans showered her with. Absolutely. Still ahead, Amazon is ditching plans to bring workers back to the office, the new remote office role that the company is modeling. And healthcare and race, how something as simple yet important as an accurate temperature reading could put people of color at risk. And coming up at noon, it's Storage Wars, followed by Comics Unleashed. Then at 1, it's The Wendy Williams Show, followed by Hot Bench at 2. It is 11:13. You're watching Fox 45 News, Midday. We are back with a live look over Towson. It is a dry, beautiful start to the weekend, but just how long will that last? Still ahead, meteorologist Amy Aronson lets us know when the rain returns. A health alert this morning. A new study finds certain types of thermometers may not be accurate among Black patients. The study looked at temporal thermometers, which measures a person's temperature on their forehead. The study found the thermometers were less effective in Black patients than oral thermometers. And the fail rate could mean as many as 23% of fevers in Black patients go undetected. Doctors believe it's due to the skin's melanin and how the thermometers are designed. COVID-19 didn't just pose a physical threat to Americans, it also played a mental factor. According to a report from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 22% of U.S. adults received psychiatric treatment in 2021. That's a 3% increase from 2019. And some health officials say the COVID-19 experience led more people to take better care of themselves on various levels. The report also showed women were more likely to seek help than men. A new study suggests a brisk daily walk could help reduce your risk of dementia. Researchers found those who took more than 9,800 steps every day were 50% less likely to develop dementia within 7 years. Even people who walked 3,800 steps a day saw a drop in their risk of mental decline. This was cut down even further if the person walked more than 40 steps a minute. That exercise is so important. Well, making headlines, mortgage rates have reached their highest level since 2008. Freddie Mac reports the 30-year fixed-rate mortgage now averages around 5.9%, up about 0.2% from the week before. Instagram is fined more than $400 million by Irish regulators over its handling of teen privacy data. According to investigators, the platform failed to keep teen user phone numbers and emails private when they were allowed to operate business accounts. This is the second biggest fine issued under the EU's strict privacy rules. In a statement, Instagram's parent company Meta says they plan to appeal. Amazon is telling workers at its corporate offices that they do not have to return to in-person work. At a recent conference, the company's CEO revealed Amazon has no plans to require people to go into the office. Earlier this year, the retail giant announced it would let individual managers and teams make return-to-work decisions. You can get Fox 45 News in a flash through your Amazon Alexa or Echo. We now deliver your local headlines and your forecast in less than 2 minutes. If you have an Amazon device, just tell it to enable Fox 45 Baltimore. Well, coming up on Fox 45 News at 4, Mayor Brandon Scott says city leaders followed procedure and did what they were supposed to do while handling the E. coli crisis. Why some say his explanation doesn't hold water. At 5, despite lifting the boil advisory, city workers are still handing out water bottles. What city residents have to say about the messaging coming from City Hall. And at 6, Baltimore City Schools faces a new lawsuit. How one parent says district leaders failed to keep her child safe. Well, trending today, how much you like your neighborhood might depend on whether or not you have children. Michigan State University researchers conducted a study of 1,000 people. They found that married couples or couples with children liked their neighborhoods more than those who don't have children. The study suggests that neighborhoods don't tend to be designed for single parents or child-free people. Researchers say reasons for dissatisfaction include less housing choices for child-free people, and they can also feel banned from neighborhood events that are kid-focused oftentimes. Mark with Be More Lifestyle is here now. Mark, good morning.
What's going on?
So I know you're a dad.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
I mean, I think the poll's kind of weird. I mean, I noticed when I was single, I wasn't really looking for it was a place to lay my head, you know what I mean?
True.
When
you're
you have
not
kids,
really, yeah.
You know, you're in transition, even career-wise, you know, you live in a cool place, but you're working. And then when you get, you know, when you settle down, I think then it changes. So
Very true.
You know, so as far as liking your neighborhood, I would say, like, I didn't even pay attention to my neighborhood when I was single.
You're not spending time there.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. I mean, you don't really want to go hang out with kids and people with kids as much if you're single and you're doing your own thing.
And then it said band, like a single person's band.
I
Like,
noticed that
hey,
too.
hey, I brought some apples to the party. Oh, sorry.
You don't have kids? Get out the door.
Get out of here. You're banned from this party.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting word choice. I mean, maybe you feel banned. I don't think most people, I don't think there's, sign up sheet. If you don't have kids, you can't come.
And let's keep it real. My single friends would be like, bet, I will never come to the party again. Thank you.
Exactly. Like, appreciate us knowing where we stand here.
But yeah, but it is interesting though, when you think about your neighborhood. So again, how do you feel about your neighborhood? I mean, I've been in mine for 20 years. I mean, what do you think of your neighborhood?
I mean, I love my neighborhood, but it is more geared towards, I think, single people.
Okay.
So.
Oh, wait a minute. You got one of those neighborhoods. I see you.
Right. Yeah. So, teach his own.
Well, I'm going to come to your neighborhood next week. No.
Come hang out. Come hang out. All right. Well, I'll see you soon, Mark.
Awesome.
All right. Well, it's a nice weekend to get out in your neighborhood here at home. But as meteorologist Amy Aronson shows us, tropical moisture from remnants of Hurricane K is heading towards the west coast. Amy.
Yeah, we're heading southwest again for today's worst weather, and that has to do with what's actually moving their direction. It's the moisture, the tropical moisture from K. Already they're seeing the outer bands of it in the form of a sun halo. So this is actually in southwestern Arizona. Here's a bigger look at that system, a very striking satellite image, actually. This system's going to bring some really heavy rain to California and southern parts of Arizona. Unfortunately, it's going to be too much rain too fast. So although they need the rain, I think flooding will be a major concern. And you can see that moisture already inching its way in to where all the extreme heat warnings actually still linger for much of California. On our coast, we have a lot happening. First of all, we have Earl hanging out offshore, sending some rough surf, some rip currents, and some coastal flood problems to the East Coast this weekend. But for us, our concern is what's happening west of here. See that cold front? That's traveling our direction, along with that area of low pressure. That's going to send us the moisture. That's all going to stream our way as the weekend continues. Today, bright and sunny, thanks to high pressure. But here comes the clouds, here comes the showers, drifting in from the south here as we head through the day tomorrow. Tomorrow's still mostly dry, but it also turns mostly cloudy with a few showers streaming in late Saturday. Most of the rain holds off until Sunday. This is when showers become more likely and increase in coverage, especially as we get into the afternoon and then Sunday evening. If you head out to the State Fair today, though, you're in great shape. Don't forget the sunglasses, the sunscreen. Going to be bright and sunny out there this afternoon and warm with highs ending up in the low 80s. And tonight's going to feel fantastic for Friday Night Lights games. If you're headed out to any football games this evening, I would bring a sweatshirt, a light jacket. Temperatures will be falling back into the low 70s, upper 60s later this evening. Rain chances start to increase on Sunday. Rain becomes most likely Monday into Tuesday with that next weather maker. And then a long stretch of the 80s will follow for the rest of next week. Back to you.
All right. Thanks, Amy. Well, this is interesting. Kellogg's wants you to put water in your cereal bowl, the new food item that the company is rolling out. And it looks like something straight out of the Jetsons, electric air taxis. But one airline thinks this could work. The deal it's striking, coming up. It's 11:22. You're watching Fox 45 News, Midday. General Motors is unveiling its new electric SUV. And with a $30,000 price tag, it's one of the cheapest EVs on the market. 2024 Chevrolet Equinox EV is about 3 inches wider than the gas model with the same name. It also has no front trunk. Instead, the area under the hood holds electronic equipment and the electric motor. On a full charge, the base model can go about 250 miles. And is this the future of air travel? United Airlines thinks so. The company is pumping in $15 million into an electric air taxi company. United is striking a deal to buy 500 of them. United says the vehicles have a range of 60 miles, and one of the makers is working on an air traffic management system to allow these air taxis to be operated safely in certain cities. That is just crazy. Definitely transportation of the future. Well, time now for your lunch break, and we are talking about breakfast. Kellogg's wants you to put water in your cereal bowl. Now, as odd as it sounds, it may taste pretty good. The company just released new Insta Bowls, and they're little tubs of cereal with powdered milk. Now, when you add water and stir, the milk rehydrates, and boom, instant milk and cereal. But with the convenience comes a cost. They are $1.98 a bowl. Well, that is all the time we have for Fox 45 News Midday. Be More Lifestyles coming up next, and Mark Clark is back to tell us what they're working on. Hey, Mark.
Hey, we got a crazy story about a house with a toilet in the bathroom, but it's in the middle of the room. We'll talk about it coming up next.
See, but this
That's it.
looks
Get out of here. Because what are you talking about? This whole time you thought that was no sense. You got that's the white. That's the Labor Day. That's what it is.
DJ 5-star here?
It looks good though. It looks good. I still love it. I don't care.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh Lord.
5-star.
Everybody don't